Greetings everyone, this is Wombmyn and this is my video check-in for the 14th day of Wombmyn's 40-day prosperity invocation. That's what I'm looking for, Wombmyn's 40-day prosperity invocation. And I wanted to come and do a quick video, or not so quick, talking about some stuff that's been coming up for me, especially as it relates to money and dollar amounts and putting parameters on spirit. And what I mean about putting parameters on spirit, I have been noticing that as my income, or what I have in my account, as that shifts, I'm noticing that my ability to stay in a place of centeredness and a place of knowing and a place of clarity changes. It's been really interesting. It's kind of like, in other words, when I had a certain amount of money to work with, even though there was some thoughts of fear because of the fact that one of my more regular sources of income was about to change, okay? Even though I was experiencing a desire to be in a place of centeredness as it related to that, and I jumped into this 40-day process head first, knowing that this was part of what I wanted to heal. Any kind of fear, any kind of focusing on the future, any kind of stories about lack, I wanted to really be on top of that. And what I'm noticing is that worked, and that process of really, affirming the truth about my source, the truth about, my substance, and that being the Wombmyverse, that being spirit flowing through me, as me, and in me. I noticed, though, that as time has gone on, that there's a part of me that has possibly been putting parameters on spirit. So, in other words, I was okay, and I was able to kind of, rope it in, come back center, do my breathing, stay present, know my source. But once that account hit a certain amount of money, it was kind of like, that was okay for that amount of money. But, do you see my bank account? It's like I'm asking the universe, do you see my bank account? We're working on this, right? Are we working on this? And so it dawned on me, I'm like, wow, I'm putting parameters on spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is like another layer that is opening up for like a healing opportunity. It's like another layer of fear, if you will. Whereas before there was one level of fear, and I was able to work through that, and now it's like I'm shifting and I'm being given this opportunity to say again, now you're in another situation. So who's your source? What's your source? From whence do your blessings flow? That's the thing that's been showing up for me. And I think it's also really interesting because the 40-day process is really cyclical. You build upon, starting with day 1 and moving all the way to day 40. But it's also cyclical in the sense that there are a total of 10 affirmations, a total of 10 invocations that you do. And on day 11, you start over again. And you do that for 10 days, and then you start over again too. So I thought it was kind of interesting that as we begin again and we go to a next layer, that in a sense my financial situation, I have gone to another layer with that. You know what I mean? And I've seen prosperity on so many levels. Don't get me wrong, I've seen prosperity on so many levels, but because prosperity means so many things, it's not always showing up in that bank account. For example, prosperity showing up in a situation where my son was able to get some more gigs mowing lawns, and he got And I'll give you an example. He's been mowing lawns for someone, and I really had to get straight because I felt like they were possibly moving toward the possibility of taking advantage of him financially. Not necessarily on purpose, maybe they weren't aware, but I had to write a letter explaining that, you will do business with my son in this way only, or you will not do business with him at all. And so we didn't hear from him for some time, and I told my son that. I said, that because we're showing up in our power, that there's a possibility that he won't use you again. And he was okay with that because he understood. But my point is this. So 2 weeks ago, he began using my son's services again. And how he started the relationship back again was by paying him first. Paying him, here I am giving you this money to complete XYZ service for me, and he's done a couple of yards for him again. But anyway, that was a form of prosperity. So I feel very clear that whatever I'm removing as far as blocks are concerned, and I keep explaining how relationships and everything is everything, I feel like I removed that blockage because I affirm for my own children that they are abundant and that they are prosperous and that they are showing up in the world a certain way. Another situation showed up where a family member just said that, Spirit has been impressing upon me to really assist you in your home learning journey. And this is something that, I have really been contemplating because there are certain desires that I have as far as what I want to bring to the table for my children, other than what we do together, other than what I expose them to, and other than certain other types of lessons that we may involve ourselves in. There are certain things that I want to show up for them, and this person is the perfect person for that. This is free of charge. This is, I want to do this for you. Another situation, I just want to show this to you to say that yes, I do see the prosperity. It's not showing up in my bank account, but no, let me reaffirm that. I don't notice it yet, but it's already there in my bank account. But I just wanted to share another situation. I have a girlfriend who lives in the Midwest who has to come to Houston for several days in a couple of weeks, and I live in Texas. I live in Dallas, and her question was, how do I get to see you when I'm down there? I'm only going to be there for 3 days. How do I get to see you? And immediately, I was just like, well, I will drive. I will come to see you. It's like a 4 or 5 hour drive, depending on where in Houston she is, but where she's going to be. But the point is, so in that situation, I just manifested, a trip to Houston, a trip to see my girlfriend, a rental car, a hotel stay for my kids and I. We get to hang out at the pool while she does what the meetings or whatever it is that she has to do. One of those days I know we'll go see some of our other friends down there, maybe family, and I am absolutely not going to Houston without going to Galveston and go to the beach and see my mama, which is the water, which is the ocean. So these things are showing up, don't get me wrong, but I noticed that it was like, wow, I'm riding high. Now I'm looking at my bank account and I'm like, ooh, some old stuff is cropping up. This whole thought of, instead of using what's there to pay for things that we are, needing, or things that have to do with bills that we have, instead of doing that, I feel myself getting nervous and wanting to cling to and wanting to just hoard that money, because there's this sense of a lack. There's this story of lack coming up for me. There's this lie of lack. There's this fear that this is all there is. There's this confusion. There's this forgetting that the Wombmyverse is abundant, that it is lush, that there is so much you can't even imagine how much there is, and that there's always a plenty, and that there's always enough. And I'm just getting chills just thinking about it. But I was putting parameters on spirit because I was comfortable as long as it looked like it was going to be this amount, as long as it looked like the next amount was going to show up in XYZ amount of time, as long as it looked like I was able to tell a story about what was going to happen in the future that was going to show up. And so now I'm given the opportunity to heal, to shift, to be different, to be in a different place with this. And I just wanted to tell you another story that came up for me about how we put parameters on God or spirit. So several months ago, maybe 8-9 months ago, I was speaking to a woman who has been very helpful as a business coach for me. She has been helpful in helping me figure out how to get the logistics going when I am choosing how I want my business to show up. She's really good at pulling things out of you. And one of the things, too, that I noticed, because she's real good at working with you as it relates to your abundance consciousness, right? And so she hears your language, she hears what you're using. And again, in the past, and I feel like this is why, relationships keep coming up for me during this process, because I feel that I have tied so much of my fear and angst into being able to provide for my children, into looking at, is someone going to have our back? Is someone going to be able to show up, suited up and ready to go? Am I going to be able to do the things that I want to do, which is experience things as my children's first teacher, and just show up with the lifestyle that we want? But anyway, I remember having a conversation with her where I was talking about abundance consciousness, and how I noticed that I had segmented out or put parameters on spirit as it related to my abundance consciousness. It's like, okay, when I'm standing over here and I'm affirming that I have this, and this, and it's manifesting and it's showing up in my life, that's one thing, and that's different. Now, when it comes to my family and my children over here, I don't have time to play. Okay? I need to know when it's coming, how it's coming, where it's coming, what it's doing. And it was like I was being facetious with her, but it was like, I was letting her know. I had this light bulb moment that I was acting like, okay, over here, yeah, we can do all that abundance consciousness, prosperity, tools and techniques. We can use affirmative prayer. We can use law of attraction. You can use knowing God is your source. And even though all that stuff is true, and even though it's even showing up as true, and I'm seeing the example of it as true, I'm having stuff happening, I'm having things, I'm invoking, and the invoking is working. And even though I'm knowing that, because of the stories I tell over here, it's like, you know what? That's fine over there. That's fine over there. But these are my kids. These are my kids. I don't have time to play. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that, because that was a time in my life when I was putting parameters on spirit. I was allowing my fear about thinking that there were things that I could actually control. My fear, of wanting things to be a certain way, and trying to control how that showed up. But also just forgetting that spirit flows through all situations, and that we don't have to put parameters on spirit. I mean, we can't anyway, even if we tried to do that. That's just some segmenting and some storytelling that we're doing that is really not serving us. And as I said in the previous video, just noticing that is powerful. Just having that experience of seeing what that is. This video has really gone longer than I planned. I really had the intention of doing doing a worksheet on fears about not having enough money, because that's what was coming up for me. And if I do that, I'm going to do that in a third video for today. And then if not, I will do that at a later date. But I did want to share that. I wanted to share that. spirit is everywhere. Spirit is the source and the substance of everywhere. We can't put parameters on any of that. We can't segment that. It shows up everywhere in all ways. And so when the opportunity to heal that sense of separation from spirit in any situation that feels uncomfortable or awkward, it's just an opportunity for us to heal that sense of separation. And I just wanted to share that with you because that's what's been shown up.